The election of hardliner Ibrahim Raisi comes days after U.S. President Joe Biden said he and Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin discussed Iran at their recent summit in Geneva.
It is in the interest of both Russia and the United States to ensure that Iran does not acquire nuclear weapons. We agreed to work together.
In April, nuclear negotiations began with Iran to re-enter the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which put limits on Iran's atomic activities in exchange for easing international sanctions against the Islamic Republic. Iran pulled back from its nuclear commitments after then-President Donald Trump in 2018 pulled the U.S. out of the agreement and reimposed U.S. sanctions on Tehran. The U.S. is taking part in indirect talks in Vienna, Austria, with diplomats from 5 nations acting as go-betweens with Iran. Iran's foreign minister said a deal could be reached later this year before the new president takes office. The White House is not signaling any breakthroughs in negotiations, but appears to be cautiously optimistic about the direction of the talks.
What I would say is that there is still a fair distance to travel on some of the key issues, including on sanctions and on the nuclear commitments that Iran has to make. But the arrow has been pointed in the right direction in terms of the work that's getting done in Vienna.
Negotiators adjourned the latest round of talks on Sunday to consult with their respective governments, with no set date to resume. Iran maintains its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes. Michelle Quinn, via
ability to fix it. Because as we know, the negotiations in Vienna have somehow stalled, and there's been talk that they would prefer to continue them or at least reach a conclusion for after Iran's presidential election. And Ibrahim Raisi, as a conservative or ultra-conservative, we can say, president, will have a matching parliament, and it would be a good mix of forces to be able to push a mandate. So it's possible for Iran's economy to be able to be improved after that, and for them to be able to fulfill on that economy at this point, and with these forces, or with the way they have been going forward, with their alliance with President Hassan Rouhani and with the people who have been the flag bearers for the public. So in a sense, this would at least be the rise of conservatism again after quite some time after Mr. Ahmadinejad was in power. That at least should be telling us some things.
Right, thirds of the vote. The only moderate candidate has already conceded. Raisi is a harsh critic of the West. He's been sanctioned for alleged human rights abuses, including overseeing the executions of thousands of political prisoners. Election turnout was low. Many voters were deterred by years of authoritarian rule and the flatlining economy.